made some observations and encountered some content over the last couple of days. It kind of compelled me to feel like I needed to say something about it. I feel like there's a lot of propaganda out there right now, and well, I know there is. Clearly, there is, and it's difficult to even tell whether it's coming from competing interests or interests that are actually totally aligned that are pretending like they're competing or what. It's very difficult to make sense out of what we're seeing out there. But I've felt for a very long time that the United States was actually already under the control of Russia and China for the most part. Um, I have been talking for 10 seconds or something. I don't know, not very long at all. Uh, so, as I was saying, I feel like Russia and China have been puppeting the United States for a long time. And it seems to me that China has control of the left and Russia has control of the right. Whether that's true or not, I'm not entirely sure. But um, yeah, I just jumped right in. I didn't, Mr. Charles. So and there's a lot of reasons. I think little things I started to notice, like the way that Trump, he's got a Russian wife, and he seemed to get on pretty good with Putin. And there are a lot of connections, a lot of reasons to think that China is connected to the left, and certainly the political direction that they're going seems something that communist China would approve of. Um, and so I've noticed that as the Russia-Ukraine situation has been, I guess, intensifying, the right wing has increasingly been sort of defending Putin, and and some of the things that some of these pundits are saying are absolutely atrocious. They're kind of doing what the left does, and they find a little group of Nazis on the right, and they focus all their cameras on them and act like that's the entire right wing. And I've seen several of these like talk show kind of guys, the YouTube version, Jimmy Core, I think is the name of one of them, basically kind of implying that because there may be some neo Nazis in Ukraine, we shouldn't support the people that are getting their apartments blown to pieces. It's just completely insane. It doesn't matter if the elites are orchestrating this; they're all in on it. That's not the point. The point is that innocent families, children, are getting blown up, and that's not right. Period. End of story. And Russia being the aggressor, at least in terms of having initiated the invasion, they're in the wrong. Period. I mean, to try to analyze a situation in terms of the absolute, where you can't have any direct knowledge of what's absolutely going on behind the scene, and then acting like that reality should conform to this knowledge that you couldn't possibly have. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And what we have to do is take a relative position because we don't have all the information. It's like, last night I was doing the Kabbalion live stream, and there was a lot of talk about that, about how there's a big difference between understanding the universe from a mortal human's point of view and the absolute perspective of a omniscient, objective deity, right? Um, and the same thing is true of a situation like a war. It may be true that it's really just one thing, that one organization putting on a show and manipulating everyone and all this stuff. That has nothing to do with the fact that I watched a woman on a bicycle get blown to pieces for just nothing the other day. Um, and the right wing people that are talking about how basically they deserve it because there's a few neo Nazis. How little self awareness could you possibly have? I mean, I understand that not all right wingers are neo Nazis. In fact, a very very tiny percentage of them are. But if you apply the same logic that they're using to say we shouldn't support Ukraine to like the right wing, it's it's the same. So are they saying we would be justified in blowing them all up? I mean, it's I mean, you know, this opinion that all of this stuff is staged is a little bit ridiculous. This is kind of like a flat earther kind of point of view. When a conspiracy requires, hundreds of thousands of conspirators, false witnesses, it's just completely stupid. And there are people on the ground. There are people in the cities that have been raided and bombed that are in their apartments taking videos. You can tell that the cars on the streets are not from 1997 or even 2014. It's just, I understand that everyone is very suspicious of any narrative that they're fed from anywhere. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not old. You can tell that it's not old. You can tell that it's not old partly because of the weaponry. Military weaponry advances every single year, and there are definitely new weapons being deployed. And so, I mean, you would have to accuse all of these people that are reporting on this live of all of them being in on a conspiracy to stage a war in Ukraine. And for what? What's the point in staging a war? I guarantee you that the military industrial complex wants actual rounds spent. They don't make any money. They're not going to be able to create new invoices for bombs and guns and tank treads if they're just pretending to go to war. Um, yeah, I mean, of course, there's been dozens of wars going on for decades. I'm not saying that there is nothing sus going on at all. I'm not saying that at all. But do I think that the fighting is staged and that there's no war actually breaking out? I think that's completely fucking stupid. And really, no one has any reason to take that position other than you're hearing shit on the internet and you believe it. That's not a tenable position. It's not it's not defensible. It doesn't make any sense to me. And particularly because I think they want to write real invoices, they want to make a real impact on the population. I really don't think it's staged. It may be okay. I'll tell you one thing that I saw that really piqued my interest, and also the interpretation that a lot of people are making of this video is completely mindless. I think it's stop making a hero of Donald Trump. They're all in on it, right? He was not a hero. He's not rogue. He's none of the things that Trumpers thought he was. It's just as bad as when all of the left believed in Obama, right? Both sides have been duped over and over and over again. That's why that's why everything stays the same. You know what I mean? If one of these parties really had it, if they really had the answers, don't you think something would have changed by now instead of getting worse? Red, blue, red, blue, red, blue, same shit. It's like a wrecking ball swinging back and forth. The one side pushes and does some stuff, and then another side gets into office and they undo everything and destroy it all. It's designed that way, and so it neutralizes progress. Win music, win chill time. Yeah, I know, really. Actually, good news, guys. I have gotten the microphone, or actually, my partner got the microphone to work without lag. So I think I may actually be able to finally do some pro quality recordings and make some goddamn music, because that's really what I want to get back into. That's why I'm in keto right now. I heard there's a psychedelic music scene, and that I'll have an audience here, which is cool. Uh, so yeah, that'll happen again. I'm glad that you would like me to do that, because the last couple of performances I've done I thought were absolutely tragic. So it's good to have some encouragement. um, since I haven't been well, it's just not. It hasn't. Music is not something that I've had any energy or focus for. But I'm trying to change that. Um, so yeah, but this video footage that I saw was Trump shaking hands with Putin. And Trump pulls him, like Putin's like kind of standing far away and like reaching over to him, and Trump grabs him by the hand and pulls him over. And as if that wasn't enough, when they sit down, Putin has his fist clenched, and like he's like pushing it, like see if I can get this down where you can see, like pushing his fist down into the couch, like and also like wringing his hands a lot, which is all like, he's nervous and there's a lot of tension, and his shoulders are slumped, his head is down, like total submission. And of course, all the Trumpers are like, "Oh yeah, look how great of a leader Trump was. He totally fucking submitted Putin." That's not it. You're fucking stupid if you believe that. If you think it's Trump that was scaring Putin, You're out of your fucking mind. He's a KGB, ex KGB. He's a motherfucking killer, dude. If you fuck with that guy, you die. Like, a billionaire, Trump's got nothing on him. Trump is a fat, bloated, arrogant dipshit compared to Putin. I mean, the guy's a black belt in judo. He races F1 cars. He swims with dolphins. Like, the guy is like a villain from a James Bond movie. Trump was not scaring this motherfucker. Don't be an idiot. That's just the dumbest shit I've ever heard. But there was something going on that made Putin a complete little punk bitch in the presence of this guy that had nothing to do with Trump. And that is why I think the people that are saying that there's something else going on, Putin knew something probably about the people behind Trump. It kind of suggests that the globalists, or you know what I mean? Like, Putin definitely knew something. He was definitely fucked up. Like, it's crazy footage to watch. But if you think he was actually intimidated by the person of Donald Trump, I think you're hurting fucking stupid. I'm sorry. I don't have any gentler language to use. That's just stupid, dude. I mean, one roundhouse kick to the fucking head and Trump is dead. Putin's way more of a badass. But I think we do need to be extremely aware of the possibility that Russia and China have already taken over the United States. It's especially with the TikTok propaganda. I mean, it really seems like China's pushing a certain agenda. Um, it's a trippy thing. What is this new? It's sort of like the Trilateral Commission or the World Bank, the World Economic Forum. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. The World Economic Forum. I'm really gonna in the next week. I'm gonna start looking into that because I have no idea what it is, and there's like every time it's up nowadays, people mention them. So I'm gonna look into that and see if I can't figure it out. But you know what? I mean, as far as like actually diving into the nuts and bolts of like what makes these conspiracies tick, I really don't care. I mean, I'm not. I'm going to look into it a little bit, I guess is what I'm saying, but I definitely don't have any intention to try to actually figure out what is going on in any kind of depth. And if you think you know anyone that has figured it out or you have a source or something, it's bullshit. I can almost guarantee you that it's misdirection. I think everyone just needs to accept that you're not going to know what's going on. You don't know what's going on. Nobody knows what's going on except for the people that are at the very top of the shit heap, and that's it. And that's how it's going to be. It's how it's always going to be. You might be able to get some inkling that might tell you when you need to get up and go, when you need to move, when you need to start stockpiling food. That time has come and gone. I think the fact that the United States made it illegal. No, listen to this. They actually, like the Homeland Security, Department of Homeland Security, is asking people to report people that they feel like are becoming too prepared. That's the language. That's the language. People that are becoming too prepared, like they're stockpiling food and building bomb shelters and stuff. You're supposed to report that to the government. Uh, now, why? See, I own nothing, and I'm fairly happy, even with huge health problems. I don't. That sort of like right wing idea that that's a problem doesn't make any sense to me. I have a couple of books, a few pairs of clothes, an iPhone, two guitars, and a laptop. And I don't see any reason to feel like I need a house full of shit. Like that argument doesn't mean anything to me. Um, I'm more concerned about the loss of our freedoms. I'm concerned about, yeah, you got Balance Ches. That is the craziest thing. And I made a video in like 2019 or 2020 where I said when the parties start to switch characteristics, that's when we know the NWO is here and we should be really, really worried. Well, of course, man, the social credit system freaks me out. The fact that banks can freeze your bank accounts freaks me out. The fact that, Trudeau froze the GoFundMe that was supposed to go to those truckers. And did you hear about this? This shit, man. They were just calling these truckers. Um, yeah, exactly. That's what my last live stream on this was about, how we all need to come together because we all want the same outcome. And you know what happened? Half of my patrons canceled after I made that live stream. That's how difficult it is to not like trigger and upset people Even if you're telling them we need unity and to put our sides of differences because we have all this common ground, they hear you say, "Oh, the Biden is whatever," and they're like, "Cancel," or "Trump is whatever, cancel." So it's really difficult for someone like me that isn't on either side to make progress here because as soon as you know, as soon as I criticize either party, and I'm going to criticize both and all of the people that belong to any of these bullshit political doctrines, people are, they yank their support. So, and I feel like that's exactly what people need to hear. Both parties are your overlords. They all work for the same people. They might be puppeted by slightly different industries, but if you're spewing their propaganda, your doctrine, their doctrine, you are a propaganda mouthpiece for your overlords, right? If you identify with right or left, that's what you are. you know so what we have to do is escape from all of our indoctrination. I saw an old clip of Terrence McKenna talking about this, and it was pretty inspiring, encouraging anyways, because it was good to hear him say it, but it was also discouraging because I realized that people have been saying the shit that I'm saying now for like 30 years, and there's only a very small fraction of people that seem to have actually absorbed it and realized that it's correct. But he was talking about how what's happening is a crisis of two things: consciousness and conditioning. Too much conditioning, not enough consciousness. And the conditioning is extraordinarily powerful. And whenever you threaten or challenge the conditioning, it's wired into our survival instinct. And so people have a fight or flight response. So trying to undo it it can be a very thankless task. Luckily, there are enough people out there that appreciate those efforts that a lot of us that are trying to do this do have some support. Speaking of that, please hit the like button, share, subscribe, support us on Patreon or Zelle. There's a bunch of options in the description. I don't think I put them in the chat this time. I apologize for that. Um, yeah, I mean, when I was trying to explain how evil Biden and Harris were, even though I would every single time I talked about it, I would say I'm not a Trump supporter, I'm not a right winger, but you need to be aware of who you're supporting. I lost all of my liberal audience. I Facebook, my followers on YouTube, everything just vanished. I mean, because the majority of the people that were watching my content were liberals. But I feel compelled to tell the truth, right? And the truth is that Kamala Harris is the evilest person that, to my knowledge, that's ever been in the White House. Um, a black woman that has kept slaves for the state is one of the scariest fucking things I can imagine. you know. And we probably just got a couple of lefties on that just immediately bailed when I said that Kamala Toe Harry ass is a complete piece of shit, because she is. She is. She's one of the most awful human beings. That there was a left winger here the other day I was talking to, and she actually said, "Well, one of the things I love about Joe Biden is that he's a great friend to black people." And you guys know me, man. It doesn't matter. I'm not an internet gangster or whatever, internet warrior. If you are here, I will do the same thing I do online. And I was like, "Are you fucking serious, lady? Do you know what the 1984 crime bill is?" She said no. I was like, "No? What the fuck do you mean no? How are you? You're a political activist and you don't even know what their political career consists of? You're talking about how you love them and support them, and you don't even know what they've done in their career." And this is normal. It's completely normal. And don't think you're off the hook, right wingers. The whole like Donald Trump is going to save us from the pedophiles while he's making comments about banging his own 13-year-old daughter in the Washington Post in the early 90s. You guys have been hitting the fucking head with a brick too. It's not even funny. Um, you know, it's really not. Like, you don't have any heroes in Washington. Get over it. We're on our own. There are no heroes in Washington, red or blue. Red or blue. Did you notice there's a third color on the flag? Where is that party at? You know? Um, yeah, I mean, that's, the main bullet point of this presentation is that we have to delete all of our indoctrination, all of our conditioning, right? Political, religious, all of it, and start over with a clean slate. The universe will tell you everything you need to know very directly. And this Yeah, the white party. Hey, settle down there. Let's. I didn't mean it like that. Maybe you didn't either, but you know what I'm saying. This is just ridiculous. And the reality is, and I hate to say this because it's sort of a pie in the sky solution. I'm afraid, um, but as long until we can govern ourselves, we're fucked. People that need to be governed deserve to be slaves, plain and simple. If you don't have the capacity to govern yourself, if you can't accept your own sovereignty, um, it's unfortunate that the rest of us have to share a planet with you. And that's why I'm always saying that the condition that keeps people in this state where they're dependent upon their government is engineered. It's not natural. you know and this is one of the reasons why another thing that makes people mad at me is that I talk about how spiritual people don't need to be complete pacifists, and that doesn't mean that you need to ever be aggressive towards anyone else unprovoked. That's not what I'm saying, but I am saying that every individual person needs to be willing and able to defend themselves and their property, and that's it. Russia, it doesn't matter what's going on behind the scenes. Russia is wrong because they're going to go and fight with people that aren't shooting at them. Period. End of story. If you're not being attacked, you have no right to harm anyone. That's it. That's simple. And it is crazy to me that there are still people on Earth that think that somehow any kind of war that involves fighting people that aren't attacking you makes sense. It's completely insane and deranged. I mean, it, and I think also that we have, when you are familiar with something, if it becomes normal, right? If it's been normalized, uh, I didn't say anything about not owning anything, and I am cool with not owning anything. I don't own anything. I mean, what do you mean owning something? When I talk about defending yourself and wherever you are, it doesn't mean you own the land. You know what I mean? The Native Americans and indigenous people here don't think they own the land, but if you come and attack them where they live, they're still going to kill you. Has nothing to do with owning anything. Yeah, okay, I used the word property, but whatever. That's not even the point. Um, And I'm not advocating not owning anything either. I'm just saying that I don't own anything, and it's not that terrible. I don't really see what everyone's so afraid of in that regard. I would rather not own stuff and not be a slave and not be feel like I am reliant upon a government for protection, and you know what I mean? Like, I'm not talking about communism here. I'm just talking about freedom, and I don't care about owning anything. I mean, I don't own anything. Doesn't bother me at all. I'm 42 years old. I have clothes, a phone, and a laptop. You know, I mean, it doesn't bother me at all. I don't want my fucking luggage any heavier than it already is. I move around a lot. Um, I've never understood why anyone would want to tie themselves to a mortgage. Feel like you own a house that eminent domain can just take. That's another thing. Like, people, especially right wingers, seem to think that they own stuff and that they're protected by capitalism from the elites taking everything that they own and revoking their property rights and shit. I got fucking news for you. You don't have any rights already. Eminent domain, they can take your property if they want to. They can freeze your bank account and take your money if they want to. So, you think you're defending a system that doesn't even exist. It's kind of ridiculous, you know. It's totally an illusion. And so, I mean, we have a couple of options at this point. We can rise up and we can get killed, most of us, maybe all of us, and imprisoned. We can do nothing and maybe they'll blow up the entire planet. Um, it's our pickings are getting pretty slim and the light is growing dim. Um, there's always hope. There's always hope. But I can guarantee you that it doesn't lie within any of the existing political systems. People have been making me laugh lately talking about how, well, if we had like socialism or communism, then the wealthy would have all the money. Are you fucking stupid? They already do have all the money. The wealth gap from Reagan, and it's crazy to listen to conservatives blame this on Obama. They have been taking your freedoms away, you know, regulating permission, you know, and it doesn't matter red or blue, man. I mean, it's crazy that conservatives think that the Republican Party will actually protect their money. Sure, they will if you have $100 million or more, but the rest of you are jack shit and you mean nothing. You know, the the concentration of wealth in the upper 1% has been, you know, that situation has been contributed to by red and blue equally. So you need to just get out, get out of all of your indoctrination, erase it, you know, just stop it. We need to start over. You know, people talk about the Great Reset like it's a bad thing. And it may be their plan, their version of the Great Reset is a bad thing, but some kind of Great Reset we absolutely need. We have to have it. We cannot continue this way. We absolutely cannot. And we do have the tools. We do have the tools. We have, you know, lightning fast communication. Unless they kill the internet, um, you know, Elon Musk really, you know, he seems kind of crazy. I can never tell if he's really on our side or not. Sometimes it seems like he is. Sometimes it seems like it's one of them. But I feel like one thing that he might do, that he could do, is give us all access to internet that they would have a hard time getting rid of. And that's kind of essential unless we all really develop our consciousness to the point where, you know, we have good control over our telepathy and precognition. And I'm not kidding about that. It might sound like far out woo, but I have experienced it so much. I know it's at least real. And it seems to me that, you know, an evolutionary adaptation where we learn to use the full spectrum of abilities that's available in our consciousness would be extremely fucking useful, especially in a new world order scenario, to have the same kind of biotechnology that, you know, we have in our technology would be really advantageous. And so, you know, don't be scared of psychedelics, you guys. They definitely bring down the reducing valve, turn the reducing valve off, get rid of the filters that reduce the capacities of consciousness that we really have available to us. And I think we better really focus on developing them, just in case it works, you know. So, uh, you know, I mean, I'm not trying to tell anybody what's actually going on. All I'm saying is that we need to be suspicious of every single goddamn narrative out there. One of the things that always blows my mind is how much people trust the alternative narratives. If I was the propaganda maker, I would put the most misdirection in the alternative narratives because the zombies don't, you know, you don't even need to bother, really. They're just going to, whatever they think they have to do to just not be bothered and continue on with their totally pointless, bland, mediocre existences, they're totally committed to it. Yeah, something is very, very wrong. It's true. And like I said, as soon as the narratives seem to get, you know, flimsy, um, World War III, you know, and it's like just immediately. And then all these weird circumstances surrounding it. It's the only thing I'm hoping is that I'm wrong about a lot of stuff. You know, I'm really kind of invested in just being totally dumb at this point in the interest of the collective. Um, and maybe it'll turn out that Putin has gotten himself into some shit. You know, I've seen a lot of stuff in the media about how it's not working out for him. The invasion isn't going the way he wanted. Maybe he'll just fail, which will get the U.S. off the hook, and then it'll just fizzle out, and we can get back to trying to make a reasonable world without any of the energy that lights the stars being kindled upon anyone anywhere. Uh, you know, I certainly don't want my shadow being burned into the sidewalk, although that's kind of a way to be immortalized, I suppose. Not the one that I would choose, perhaps. Oh man, it's a wild world, isn't it, guys? That is a San Pedro cactus behind me, by the way, in case you guys are wondering. Sitting here by the pool, weird green lights. Giant. I think I mentioned this before, but there's this ravine behind the house, and there was a huge earthquake in Quito Ecuador, where I am, in 2016, I think, just before I came. It killed a lot of people. It just demolished this place. And yesterday, or a couple days ago, I looked out of the back window and realized that it's a sheer drop behind the last concrete foundation piece. And the concrete has actually been tied to the house to keep it from falling into the abyss. So, like, if an earthquake hit right now, this pool right here and me, I would just suddenly, like, you guys would watch me tumble in the concrete until I lost internet. It'd be pretty crazy. But that's really it, guys. This is the second live stream I've done today. Keep your eyes out for one of our patrons, kind of commissioned me to do a commentary to Bill Cooper's Mystery School series. Of course, he's coming from a Christian point of view, so there's a lot of stuff in that material that I just think is completely insane. And I think that's why he asked me to do it, because he knew that I would have a lot to say about William Cooper. If you don't know who William Cooper was, he wrote "Behold a Pale Horse," and he had a lot to do with the growth of the UFO movement and the conspiracy theory movement. So it's like 40 hours or something of this stuff about the mysteries. And so I'm doing this huge commentary, and I'm going to post the first part of it either tonight or tomorrow morning. And it actually is coming along really well. I'm really glad they had me do it, because a lot of the stuff that I think is complete bullshit about the mysteries, it gives me an opportunity to kind of present the opposing point of view. And there's no shortage of those opportunities. Although, in his credit, he has clearly done a tremendous amount of research. He definitely knows his stuff, but his Christian interpretation of what's happening in the world is just not I don't share it. So anyways, you guys, hit the like button, share, subscribe, support us via any one of the options you can find in the description. We really do appreciate it. If you enjoy this content, we need your support in order to continue eating so that we can continue making it. So thanks for spending this time with